Alright, good day everybody. Mike here, Northeastern Dirt and Property Maintenance. I'm at the woodshed. And I'm moving some firewood around this morning. And when I get extra time when I'm not snow plowing for the township here on the plow truck, I got all these things I got to do around this little homestead here. And moving firewood is one of them. And we got a nice little setup for firewood here at this particular house because the carpenter that built this house, he built it, you can tell he built this house for himself kind of for the long run. But anyway, he put a firewood room in here and everything, and it's easily accessible from the outside. So this morning, I'm just putting it in the wheelbarrow and I run it over right there to the wood room, and I'll show you that wood room. But anyway, pretty much here is almost 100% maple. Almost 100% hard maple here. There is a little bit of yellow birch in here, a touch of white birch, a touch of red oak. There's a little bit of everything, but primarily in this wood right here, and this is kick-ass firewood right here. Like, this is 10 out of 10, this firewood. Number one, it's been double split, and I just took a load the other day too here. Right there. So underneath that snow pile right there is 18 plus face cord of maple, all maple. And next year the guy told me he'll get me 100% red oak if I want it from these mountaintops here. But anyway, all this hard maple in this St. Lawrence Great Lakes mixed forest bush up here in these mountaintops. Tons and tons of hardwood on the mountaintops. And unfortunately my bush got cut off in 2000 here, so 23 years ago. And they took out all the big stuff. And I mean, let's face it, they just raped this bush. The whole 100-acre block, when them loggers come in there, they just hit her hard. So what's left on my property is just all coniferous trees, young spruce, pine, oak, tamarack, hemlock. Lots of mixed hardwoods, but all small stuff. You'd be hard-pressed, except for the few seed trees they had to leave by law in here for regrowth and reforestation. You'd be hard-pressed to find great big mature trees back there. There are some, but I don't plan on cutting them. I need them for seed trees. I just leave them alone. So hence, I buy the good maple firewood off the wood processor here in town, and he delivers it right to the house. And what else you're going to do? And I pick up a little firewood. I cut in the summertime on jobs, a little bit of clearing jobs, a little bit of firewood here and there. But primarily my firewood comes off the processor, and it's almost all 100% maple. So that's the story of the firewood. And then I double split it because it comes off that wood processor in town, and it's a little bit too big. I don't like the knife on that processor, and I told the guy, you know, that knife splits them pieces a little bit too big. And they actually did put a bigger knife in there, like a 7-way, I think, but it's still not quite the way I like it. So anyway, I end up double splitting my wood to get smaller stuff mixed in, you know, with bigger stuff like this. So I get a combination of everything. I get some all-night wood, I get some easy morning fire starting wood, but most importantly, the size of the wood is how dry this wood is. As you'll notice, I keep this wood in the shed, and this wood here now has been seasoned for well over a year, and it's beautiful. It's probably about as good as you're going to get in firewood, this maple right here. You can tell by the yellowing of the maple, the color of the maple, the sound when you bang them together on this maple here. Like, this maple is dry. And also, by having it stacked in the woodshed like this, with open sides on this woodshed right there, and you can see that the breeze can come through this. It can also go out the top of the shed over there. So it's a well-built woodshed. And like I said, in the house, we have a Numac wood furnace, which I don't burn. I could burn, it's easily operable, but it's got a noisy motor on it. It works good, but the motor on the Numac furnace is not the right motor for that furnace, and it blows a lot of CFM, and it's loud. I just find it annoying, and I don't get to see the fire. So I installed a wood stove in the basement, a big-ass wood stove too, the biggest one I could get from New England Stove Works. Not the best stove, but, you know, mid-range. It's not a Pacific Energy. It's not a Vermont Castings. It's not a Regency. the good shit. It's kind of a lower level mid-range stove, but I bought it here in North Bay. It was on sale and it's big, so I put that in the basement. So I don't run my wood furnace. I've got electric furnace and wood furnace combo here, so the electric furnace will come on at night as per thermostat, which works good. It's clean, it's simple, and does it really burn any more electricity than cooking a roast in the oven? I have no idea. It's just a big electric element, but it works good and it's quiet, fairly quiet. It's still got that noisy blower motor, but it just seems that when I burn the wood stove, I don't know why, it just seems I seem to hear that motor more. But anyway, that's what we have for heating. Wood furnace, electric furnace combo with the Numac, wood on the bottom, electric furnace piggybacked on top. And I got a massive airtight wood stove in the basement. So, you know what? It works good. You get a power outage here, we just burn wood. And we do get power outages here, believe me. More than I like. But anyway, so let's get back to the firewood. So all I'm doing this morning, I put it in the wheelbarrow, and I'm going to hustle it in over here, and we'll put it in the basement. But anyway, as you guys can see, oh yeah, back to this woodshed. This to me is the only way to store firewood. Inside, a firewood crib and a woodshed, call it whatever you want, but I've dealt with the tarps, and you know what? Unfortunately, I might have to double split this 18 cord here again. If I don't get this woodshed burned out, which I'm not going to get it all burned out, I know already, because there's damn near 20 face cord in here, so I'm not going to get it all burned out. I'll probably burn 14 to 15 face cord this winter on a cold winter. So there'll be 5 cord left in here. So I'm going to have to double split that new firewood right there. And then I'll end up putting it in here. And obviously I'm going to have to use those shitty ass tarps. Stack it outside, crib it up in the air on timbers, and then stack it outside. I have no choice because this woodshed will be full. And some of it will have to go outside. Oh, I hate stacking firewood outside. It's like the worst. Because the tarps always blow off. It doesn't matter. Unless you get some real good, and I've seen it, building metal, old rusty building metal, bent to go right around the top of the firewood with cinder blocks on top, something like that. It always blows off. Your tarps always blow off. They shred. It's just shit. I hate tarps. So anyway, this firewood shed here, this fella built when he built the house. Cat's meow. Holds lots of wood, and that's what we're into today. So, and in my spare time, I bring in a few wheelbarrows at a time and just chip away at it. And here you got an insulated door right here on this wood room. And you look inside, a completely plywood, hopefully you guys can see, lined wood room in the basement in this corner, and all I do is just throw that firewood inside. And that's all I do. It's easy, it's convenient. You close it up, you deadbolt it from the inside, and it's well insulated, so no issues. And you're not punching a hole through any drywall, because you sheathe that with spruce sheathing I see all around in there, so it can take some abuse. And that's it, man. You just load her up. Wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow. That's just how she rolls. Oh. And that last video, if you guys watch that video on me putting up that flashing over top of the shop door over there, that last video or two, you'll see me in the flashing video. I told you when I was on that Featherlight ladder that I got that for free from a customer who I did a job for, and he was moving, so he gave me so much stuff. Well, look, he gave me that brand new wheelbarrow too. I mean, that thing's brand new. I took the wheelbarrow. He gave me so much stuff. It was incredible. And it's nice because I put it to use. I didn't take it to sell it. I just took it to use it. Of course, I got 3 wheelbarrows now. I sometimes get really excited when I'm talking about firewood, solely because I like nice dry firewood, and I like the firewood when I know it's dry and it rings. When it rings like that and it echoes, you know she's dry. But at the same time, you don't want it too dry, and so it just flares right up and burns. But you know what? I don't know if you can ever get firewood too dry in a woodshed, simply because the atmosphere and the moisture in the atmosphere probably absorbs, this firewood probably absorbs moisture in the spring and the fall and the humid summer. It probably absorbs moisture like a sponge anyway. I don't know if you can have firewood that's too dry. Maybe you can, but I ain't complaining. All right. Is there anything any more Canadian than a horny Tim's and a firewood shed? I think not. Oh, and a good rifle. Good rifle. But I don't want to get off on a tangent this morning, talking about freedom in Canada and leadership and guns, because I'll just go on and on. So anyway. Oh. So let's talk about purchasing firewood. Maybe I've talked about this before in another video, but let's reiterate on that subject of buying firewood versus cutting your own firewood. Like me right now, I had to buy this wood because I just don't have enough wood in this bush. But anyway, it's kind of a shame. 85 acres, 84 point something, 85 acres back there, and I really can't go in there and cut good quality firewood. There's all kinds of trees in there, but they're not good quality. But anyway, so let's talk about buying firewood. If you came up to the North Country or moved anywhere, and let's say you're from the city, people think, wow, you buy your own firewood, it's expensive and everything else. And yes, firewood's expensive up here. Firewood up here is averaging $100 a cord, $100 a face cord. Firewood is not cheap up here. So when I put my order in, I want the best I can get. I want red oak, or I want sugar maple, rock maple, moose maple up here, you call it whatever. And or beech. I like the beech up here. The beech is good. Anyway, we're talking about buying firewood. So if you came up here, think about it. There is $1,900 worth of firewood standing behind that camera, as you guys can see. That's 1,900 bucks. Roughly 18 plus cord right there. So everybody thinks, wow, that's a lot of money. And it is a lot of money. Trust me, it's a lot of money to me too. But at the same time, if you come to the North Country or anywhere and you have no equipment, think about this. You're not buying a $25,000 Kubota tractor or any loader tractor four-wheel drive. Let's face it. Any good loader tractor four-wheel drive, you're going to spend $15,000 plus. That's just the way it is. Let's not talk junk. Let's talk something that's going to turn key and go. So $15,000 for a tractor minimum. A good power saw is going to poke close to $1,000 Canadian now. A good splitter is going to cost you $1,500 to $2,000. So all those costs add up if you want to process your own firewood and if you have the firewood in your bush. Now, you can take the path of least resistance like I do, Not because I don't have the equipment. I just don't have the real good firewood. So let's say I had no equipment. I don't have to shell out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to haul my own firewood out of the bush, buck it up, split it, and everything else that goes with it. All you do is you speed dial Mr. Firewood here, and he brings out a triaxle full, and he comes in and he dumps it in your yard. And I'm just talking for somebody that moved from the city, basically, that has no equipment. It's a very convenient way, and they're not shelling out. You know what I'm saying? They're not shelling out $20,000 to $25,000 worth of good quality equipment to do the job efficiently. And so there is something to be said about buying firewood versus lugging it out of the bush. And trust me, in southern Ontario, in those Carolinian forests, I cut a lot of firewood in my life. We've been burning firewood with my father, with my dad, since I was a little kid. So I've cut a lot of firewood, just put it that way. So now there's something to be said for just calling somebody and having a firewood delivered to your house. No investment, no equipment, just your initial cost of the firewood. That's it. And the labor that goes with it, of course. And I mean, if you got a big wood stove, you can burn this firewood this size, but I prefer to double split it. And it dries faster double split. I mean, the smaller it is, the quicker it's going to dry. And then stack it in the shed. But anyway, that's all I was going to talk about, was buying it versus cutting your own firewood. There are some pros and some cons, of course. But it's very convenient to buy it. And like I say, up here you got your choice. You can put your order in, and you can get all yellow birch if you want. You can get all poplar if you want off the processor, whatever. And the lightweight stuff like poplar that burns down to fly ash, that doesn't hold a coal bed by the time morning comes, it's cheaper. It's substantially cheaper. Like, it's probably $30, $35 a cord cheaper maybe, but I don't bother with the poplar. If I want poplar, I can go in the bush, and I have taken some. I just cut it out of the bush here, and that's fine. But anyway, that's where we're talking about cost versus buying it versus cutting your own. And that's my opinion on it anyway. So you can look at it a couple different ways. And definitely, and we all know definitely, there's no doubt about it, with firewood being $100 a cord for the good stuff, there's no doubt about it that you could live in town and you could burn natural gas cheaper. You definitely could burn per month cheaper on a nice little efficient house in town. You could easily heat a house less than what I pay for firewood. But I'm not in town, number one. And number two, it's a completely different heat, firewood. Gas, propane, they've got a moisture content to them, and the BTUs, the heat that is thrown off of natural gas and propane, we all know it. It is not nearly as dry as firewood. I mean, firewood dries everything out. There's no doubt about it. That's why you put a steaming kettle or a pot of water on your stove to humidify that air, put some moisture back in the air. So there's a huge difference when you're burning firewood versus burning fossil fuels. Oh, I shouldn't be using that word, two words, fossil fuels, not nowadays. So anyway, that's the difference between burning firewood and natural gas and propane. This is a more intense, hotter, drier heat coming off firewood, and it's aesthetically pleasing to the eye in the evening. If you're sitting down in the basement and you're watching TV or something like that, and you got a nice hot wood stove fire on a cold winter night, hey, let's face it, it's nice. Nice heat, looks nice. The dog loves it. Any dog that knows anything about fireplaces will usually curl up in front of the wood stove on the floor once they get smart and they figure it out. So I know this is a bit of a rambling video, me talking, but we're just talking firewood today. And I'm sure you guys that watch this channel burn firewood. I know some of you would burn firewood. Anybody that watches a Skidoo Tundra video or a diesel video any of my kind of videos, I guarantee you there's a firewood burner out there somewhere, because we all got that same mindset. This basic homeowner wheelbarrow, we don't want to be loading this thing up too heavy. It's kind of got the cheesy ass heels on it and the whole thing flexes. She rocks back and forth. She's not a high-end wheelbarrow, but it was free and it works good. It's not what I buy. I like Garant, I like True Temper. But when something's free, man, you just take it. Snow. Like winter's actually here right now upon us. If you look out there, the last couple of videos has been all gravel showing in the driveway. That's long gone, man. Now I got a good base for the snow blower. I've blown the driveway a couple times. We're back to winter. And right now it's about -9. -9, -10 right now. I'd love to be able to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit for you guys in the States, but I can't. I haven't paid enough attention to the imperial system versus a metric system in the last several years. I can maybe convert tonnage, that's about it. Look at that. Nothing gets me excited more than hardwood. And not the kind of wood you boys are thinking either. Good sugar maple. There you go, you get the odd piece of, there's some yellow birch right there. Good stuff. Definitely not as pleasing, the odor that comes off this yellow birch when it starts burning. Definitely not a nice fragrant odor that comes off this compared to the other stuff. And that's the only difference. Burns great. And a lot of times, not a lot, but the last couple years, I've had this wood room already full. And I did have it partially full and I burned it down. But I just been busy doing other things. And as long as it's cold and dry, I don't mind working outside. Filling the wood room. I would rather have it cold and dry, like -10 right now, -12, I don't care. than those freeze-thaw cycles that just make everything so messy. We're gonna have winter, let's stay frozen. And that's it, you guys. I'll just end that video right here. And thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to show you guys that wood crib and how having a wood crib and a proper setup works really good for drying your firewood, like I say. You can't beat a good wood crib. If you're using tarps, trust me, get somebody to give you a hand or build one yourself. Build a good wood crib. You'll never look back. And that's how she rolls anyway. Okay, you guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.